A lot less for me, please. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Perfect.
A lot less for you. There
Perfect.
You
The drip that's dripping down the Glen is really the part that's going to put me over the edge. Tad more.
go ahead.
Do it
You
yourself.
can. Yeah.
I made a mess. It's drip.
You know what? That's another thing about this. Like
Bottle's hard to
the
pour.
bottle's meh. Like it just does not
annoying.
pour well. Welcome to Spirited Life. I'm Mark.
I'm Christine.
This week we're going to be talking a little bit about what happens when you hit the doldrums in life, when you feel kind of meh. What do you do about that?
Our whiskey of the week is a whiskey that we think is just kind of It's fine. And we're going to hopefully talk about what filled our spirits.
We want to live a spirited life. We're documenting our journey towards financial independence while balancing that with living in the present and enjoying our time in the journey. While we want to work towards financial independence, there's no guarantee for what tomorrow will bring. So we don't want to wait to enjoy our lives because tomorrow isn't promised. We want to share our journey to help keep ourselves intentional and accountable, and we invite you to come along with us as we work towards living a spirited life. Every week we like to pick a whiskey that goes along with our theme for the week, and this week we have selected a whiskey that, well, frankly, we kind of feel is just kind of okay. It's just kind of meh. And so it is Woodford Reserve, their standard offering. Now, this is not their standard offering because we don't have that because we don't even buy that. Because it's that because that's how we feel about it. But I do have a particular pick that was done. And it is pretty on profile for Woodford Reserve. It's slightly different. But overall, we generally feel pretty mad about this one.
I have nothing to add because it's pretty meh.
So when it comes to Woodford Reserve, one of the things and one of the reasons why I think it's meh is because this is actually designed to be a very well-rounded whiskey. It's designed to not have anything that really stands out about it. It's designed to hit a lot of the flavor profiles and everything like that. But at the same time, to some degree, that kind of actually makes it kind of boring and kind of meh. So
if it's well-rounded, nothing really is going to stand out. If it's all kind of supposed to be easy and approachable, it's fine. Yeah,
then it's all just, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
I had nothing more to say.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something.
No, I thought so too.
Okay.
But then it went with the poof.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get in on the nose.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things I think that stands out to me on this is I do get quite a bit of a floral nose on this one.
I get a lot of caramel.
Yeah. A little bit of caramel. A little bit of vanilla, a little bit of oak, a little bit of leather,
so
a little
if you
bit of floral.
Doing a checklist of what people find typically in bourbons, this would hit on a lot of them. Hit the basic ones.
Yeah,
like hang on, let's see if we hold this up.
If I look at our handy dandy board that we got from Mike from Livewire Whiskey, thank you, Mike. Let's take a look at what we've got in here. Maltiness, got a little bit of that. No peat on that. No weediness. A little bit of apple. I could see that. A little bit of banana. Sure. Cherry, dark fruit. Yes, absolutely.
I don't get that.
Yeah. Botanical. Yeah, a little floral. Oh, yeah, a little floral.
Vanilla.
Underneath spicy cinnamon. Nutmeg, allspice.
Maybe a tad of cinnamon. Like I could see an apple cinnamon. But a very basic. It's like someone went toosh real quick with a little poof of cinnamon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A little bit of oak.
Yeah.
The other ones on here, Old Wood, New Wood cigar box. Any of those for you? I think just oak.
Just basic oak, yeah.
And then underneath the other, butterscotch, caramel, leather, vanilla, tobacco, maple syrup. I think we said 3 of those.
Yeah.
So
it checks off a basic.
Yeah. So.
Basic list.
I mean, it's doing what they intended to do. It's got a lot of those things in there. It's just, I generally find it unremarkable. So. All right, let's give it a sip.
I'm gonna laugh so hard if we're like, oh, actually, this is really good.
We might. Hey, if I'll say this, if I take a sip of it and like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's been a minute,
We're
and
not going to
like,
stay with the bit.
no, absolutely not. Like,
Okay.
yeah, if this actually is good and I really enjoy it, awesome.
Yeah, the nose is basic bourbon.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a little
basic.
flat. It's a little flat. It's a little thin.
Mm-hmm.
Honey,
Yeah.
caramel, little vanilla. The finish doesn't last very long.
I was going to say it's almost gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much more.
How much do Woodfords usually go for?
I don't even know how much the regular bottles are. They're probably in like the $40 range.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably between 30 and 40.
Oh, I just gave me the hiccups.
Yeah. There's a particular acetone note that I sometimes get on Woodford also that is I find a little off-putting, and that's one that was not on the board.
Good job, Mike.
Well, acetone is also often not a note that most people want. So, and maybe that's the reason, part of the reason why I maybe find Woodford off-putting. Now, what's funny is I don't really get that note, or I would say I get it to a lesser degree on their double oak, and things like that. But it definitely is a little bit stronger on the regular Woodford offering.
So I don't know if it's power suggestion, but I just got like what it tastes
nail
like.
Polish?
Nail polish remover.
Yeah.
My nail polish remover upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's power suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, yeah, I know that taste.
That's the one note that I always get, and as I went in for my nosing after I took the sip, it was a part of the experience.
It's like that floral nail polish remover.
That's the floral note that I get, and that's why I think that it's floral.
And it's not like a basic acetone nail polish remover. It's like it has like a perfumeness to it. Yeah. I really feel like I could go upstairs and go open my nail polish remover and be like, oh yeah, this smells the same as this tastes.
Oh, absolutely. And this is one of the reasons why I think that this is, at least for me, just meh. And if other people like it, if they enjoy it, that's awesome for them.
Disclaimer, everyone has a different palate. That's why people make different things, because don't yuck everybody's yums.
Yeah.
But for us,
yeah, exactly.
This is fine. It's not.
It's fine. Am I going to buy another bottle of this? No.
No.
Am I going to buy another bottle of like the regular Woodford Reserve? No. This is not my jam. It's just not, it doesn't hit the right things for me. It's not doing it. So if other people enjoy it, that's great for them. They are welcome to enjoy it, and I'm glad that they enjoy it. But for me personally, like, just nah, I don't need it. I don't really want it. I'll finish this glass and we'll finish this bottle. It'll probably take a while.
I was gonna say, how fast are we finishing this bottle?
I don't go back to it very often.
It was literally in the back corner of the shelf.
It was. It definitely was. So, and the thing is that there's so many other things that I would rather drink, even from Brown-Forman, that I would rather go to. Like, give me Cooper's Craft, give me some Old Forester, give me any of the Jack Daniel's stuff. Right? I would prefer regular Jack Daniel's over this.
Really, I haven't had Okay, I'm sorry. I might not be finishing this.
That's okay.
It just was like,
yeah.
I licked a perfume bottle.
Yeah.
While I was doing my toes.
Yeah.
By doing my toes, I mean for nail polish.
Now you understand. That's the note that I get.
Yeah, it's just off-putting for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I get that like just as much on the regular offering as I do on this one. And I'm just like, no.
I think this is taking the lead on my funeral home whiskey.
Wow. You think this actually beats out Weller Antique 107?
Yeah, I feel like I need to do a blind, but I feel like this... that would be a fun blind. Line up all the things that I've called funeral home whiskey.
Yeah, maybe we will have to do that.
And see which one I can pick out. But that one... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not... Like, I just feel like it just now, like, there's a coating of perfume on my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's fun.
Yeah, isn't that great? It's lovely. So
please put in the comments if you all love it and you think we're stupid.
Yeah, you're welcome to do that. So, and so, yeah, this whiskey for us is overall just pretty meh and not something that we really enjoy. And you know what? Sometimes life is like that too, where life is just kind of meh, and it's maybe you're just not really enjoying things, or you kind of feel like you're in a bit of a doldrum. So let's talk a little bit about when life is meh. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that we had a quick aside while we were taking a pause.
The role of our whiskey of the week will be now played by
a 27-year Canadian hazmat from Obtainium that was affectionately called Brain Candy. You want to talk about this one?
Wait, it's a pick from our friends. What else do you want me to talk about?
I don't know. I thought you might want to talk about it. So.
Oh, it's with Mash and Journey. So it's. I don't know. I can't riff. I'm not very good at riffing. I can't riff.
So this is a pick that was done. Is a 27-year Canadian whiskey. It was picked by several different whiskey tube channels together, and we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to get a bottle of this. And so sometimes you need a little something. You need a little something extra. And so we were deciding what to pick to replace the Woodford, which, like, just frankly, we both were like, you know what, we don't like. If we're gonna sit here and we're gonna drink some whiskey, let's drink some good whiskey. So we went and we grabbed
some hazmat to purge it from my mouth.
Yeah. So we grabbed some Obtainium.
Distilled in 1995. That's insane.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm just reading it.
Stored
right
26
there.
years in oak barrels. This was bottle number 120 of 152. This particular bottle is 78.2% alcohol by volume. So pretty significant in terms of the proof overall. So
doesn't really blow my nose out though, which I was waiting for it. It's been a long time since I've had some of this.
No, it's actually surprising how approachable the nose is for how high the proof is on this one.
But it has that light candy. That light whiskey candy sweetness.
Yes, it has a certain candy sweetness, which I think was part of the reason why they went with
Brain Candy.
The Brain Candy name that they did, which is also a reference to Kids in the Hall. So
okay, let's go. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, and that candy sweetness really continues through on the palate. If I remember correctly, I think that this one was primarily like a Canadian light whiskey. And so you get a lot of like the butterscotchiness. Proof definitely comes through on the palate for sure.
I'm in the middle of my proofy hiccups right now, so I'll get back to you in a moment.
Yeah, that's fine. But overall, just a really great experience, and actually still does not even drink as hot as you might think in terms of something with that high of a proof. That high of an ABV. So really enjoyable overall. There actually is, some really nice notes that you can pull out of this. Mm-hmm. Naturally, you do pull out, a little bit of the butterscotchiness on the front and mid palate. You do get a little bit of like some sweet fruits on the mid to late palate.
I get the oak too. The oak, it's kind of like a charring of an oak on my tongue, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like on the nose, it's very butterscotchy.
Alcoholic butterscotch. Or you kind of get that when you pull the Glen away. You kind of get the smell of walking into that German store, the Werther store in Epcot.
Yep, it does smell like if you're walking into like a candy confectionery that does caramels. So if you've ever been to Disney, you've been to Epcot at Germany, they have a whole store that's what they do, and this smells exactly like that.
With alcohol.
So what brought this topic up? Why this topic now? Why talking about how the meh of life that sometimes happens?
I think it came up into my head. I would think I was driving somewhere doing something, and I'm just like, man, like I'm in this rut. Mm-hmm. It's like I do the same thing every day, rinse, wash, repeat.
Yep.
So like, and I was having trouble kind of figure out what filled my spirit because everything seemed to be about the same. Mm-hmm. So I remember sending you a text. I'm like, what happens when you're just kind of in a rut, when it's not bad, it's not good, it just is.
Yeah.
And you just feel like you're just plowing through the same steps every day.
Yeah.
There's that hiccup.
Yeah. And so what you're talking about is what at various different points in people's lives, they describe, that as a variety of different things. Probably the one that people are most commonly hearing about in that regard is the midlife crisis, because people get into essentially like, hey, everything is the same every day. And I wake up, I go to work, I come home from work, I do my chores or I do my workout, and maybe then I sit on the couch and watch some TV, and then I go to bed. Then I wake up again and I do it tomorrow, and I do it the next day, and I do it the next day. And for some people, it starts to feel like a bit of a grind. It starts to feel like, all right, what's the deal, right? What's going on? And so like that's what triggers that for a lot of people is kind of that taking a step back and going, okay, where is this going?
Yeah, it's kind of think I got to. Now he's like, where's it going? But then even I'm like, okay, so what if I get to retire? Like, what do I do next? Like, what do I, like, I don't know. It just kind of was like a same old. And then you take away work and I'm like, okay, what's next? And then that's where my brain paused. And so my brain literally just paused right there. I don't even know where I'm going.
That's okay.
This is what my head does.
But I'll talk a little bit about what you just described, and they've actually done some studies on this for people who go into retirement who aren't ready to make that transition, and maybe who don't have something to retire to. And if they don't have something that they're retiring to, it's some sort of plan about how they're going to be spending their time, how they're going to find some sort of fulfillment or generating interest or things like that. Retirement gets really difficult for people who aren't ready to make that transition. So for people who don't have hobbies or activities or things like that that are generating their interest and that are helping them go out and generate either it's self-validation and self-worth, or are not like some sort of social structure or something like that to help them build social connections and feel that sense of connection with the world, that they have a much more difficult time. And there's been studies on that. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but the ones that stick out to me is that they said the people who have more trouble usually have like 1.9 hobbies or things that are interest them. Those people struggle a lot more, but the people who have like 4 or more things that they can identify from like hobbies, social structures, those types of things are usually in a much better position and are usually much more engaged in their retirement, and they're ready for retirement that way. And I know that that's something that you and I have talked about is like, as we're thinking about what comes next and what happens next, do we have that thing that we would be heading towards? What would that look like whenever we get to that point of retirement? Not to say that it's going to happen tomorrow, but starting to plan and starting to understand what life looks like potentially after work, right? Because work is such a significant part of what we do and those types of things. Like, what does life look like after that? That's going to be a big question. We've been trying to figure some of that out. That's actually a part of what we've talked about with the Spirited Life, is getting out there, finding those things and building those things now so that we don't reach retirement and not have anything that is, occupying our time and keeping us interested and keeping us engaged in living.
It's really about finding purpose and connection and continuing that through.
Yeah, that's what a lot of folks have seen, is that it really is about like purpose and connection and how do you connect with the world. And different people have different needs for that, and they have different needs for that over different periods of time. So sometimes people need more or less of that in general. And some people have a stronger need for that, and some people develop a stronger need for that over time, or a less of a need for that over time. So, because we're not static, right? We can change and adjust over time depending on our context and all those types of things.
So with that going, thinking about purpose and connection and what in the next stages, but I think how do we manage it like in the middle when we're in that rut, or that kind of, what is it, quote unquote, messy middle. I don't like that messy middle. I don't know why it bothers me, but because it seems messy, I think it should be something action and something messy. I have to do something and take something and fix something.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it doesn't click in my head, but just that kind of that rut where it's day in, day out. I'm doing the same thing. I'm saving the same money. I'm working my hours. I'm doing whatever I need to do, but it's just rinse, wash, and repeat.
Yeah. And messy is maybe not the right word for it. And that's why I use the word doldrums. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the doldrums are actually the area in the center of the earth where there's not a lot of wind. And it is relatively stable and relatively calm, but it also makes it really hard to be sailing. And so that is maybe a more apt description, is that you're potentially in the doldrums when you feel that.
You're pretty much just floating.
Yeah, you're drifting. And so that gets into some of the things that they talk about in a few different concepts, a few different books that I've read through, things like that, where they talk about, are you seeing what your purpose is? Do you have somewhere where you're trying to get to? Do you have some sort of series of goals or those types of things? Or are you just drifting? Are you just kind of letting life happen? Those types of things. And some people could be perfectly cool with drifting or just letting life happen. But I think for a lot of people, that maybe leads to a little bit of sense of emptiness or hollowness, those kinds of things.
So I think I'm like that, but different, because my work does give me a sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the sense of purpose type aspect going on, but then I still kind of feel like it's like the same thing over and over again. Not so much work, but my days are the same things over and over again.
Yeah, your overarching days are the same thing.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe some of that is because maybe we have been maybe doing a little bit less in terms of traveling and things like that, where in previous years, we used to be like, all right, hey, you know what? We're going to Disney. And a month later,
to Utah yet this year.
We're going to Disney. And then a month later after that, we're going to Disney, where we did a lot of that.
That's true. I am in a new job where I don't have the vacation and I don't have the ability. We've probably, in previous years, we've probably already gone to several different states by now, where I think we've really only done 2 things.
Yeah.
Florida and Iowa.
Yeah. Although what's funny is typically we would usually do Florida sometime in the first quarter.
Yep.
And typically we would have some sort of trip that we would do in the second quarter.
But I think this one's different. Maybe because I was used to, like, for the past 2 years, we've gone visit our friends that moved to Utah. So we bring that. I think that might be too different, where we did go to Iowa for that weekend. I did hang out with some friends, but we usually, the past 2 years, we've gone and spent like a week with our friends out in Utah, and then we've like hung out with them, and then we've explored and done all those things. So I don't know if that's it, but there's just something, I don't know, just something that's
different.
Meh.
Yeah. Well, and it could be that. It could be that's a part of that, in that you're looking for something that is maybe a part of your routine that you're used to, where you're getting a chance to connect with your friends who are remote that way. And you didn't get a chance to do that. It was different this year because you were connecting with a different set of friends, and you were doing different things. And maybe that just hit different this year.
I just also realized I'm on medicine that is now helping me with my energy level. So I wonder if that's different too, where before I just get so tired and so drained all the time that now all of a sudden I have like energy, and I'm like, oh, I want to go I should do things, or I should do something, or instead of like, okay, I'm really tired, I'm just going to come home, watch some TV and go to bed, and I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Now I have like oomph behind me, and I'm like, oh.
Okay. Well, what's stopping you?
I don't know. I'm lazy.
Okay.
No, I don't. Well, I don't know. I thought about it because I think I get stuck in a routine. I easily get stuck in a routine.
Okay.
And it's hard to pull me out of it. I like sometimes need to be pulled out of it. But so I get stuck in a flow. I think all the things I think about doing are kind of more expensive, more time consuming.
What's expensive?
going places, visiting people, adventuring, traveling the world. So I think I get stuck there.
Okay.
So, and it kind of triggered me because I was thinking too, like last week I was off on Wednesday? When I went out, I went downtown, had brunch, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to the beach because, like, Headlands. When was the last time I was there?
Mm-hmm.
So I hung out there, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of these things that I just haven't done. Like, I'd like to do stand-up paddleboarding, but I just, for some reason, don't make the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because of who I am, and I get stuck in my routine very easily, that I don't think to do the simple, not that they're simple, but do the things I could do close to home. It's all like big things that I think of to help pull me out of the rut.
Like the thing that's stopping you from being able to do that is just like you pointed out earlier, your lack of time, right? You can't take vacation right now because you don't have a ton of vacation time.
Yep.
So that's just not an option. So you're going, like, if that is truly not an option, you're going to have to find something different. Mm-hmm. That if it truly is you needing to get out and do that stuff. But what I would say is just go do it.
See, it sounds simple, but then I just don't think about it in the day to day. Like, and then I'm like, okay, I get caught up in the day to day stuff. I get caught up in my routine. Like I said, when I get in a routine, I don't think about outside of my routine.
Okay. So then I guess my question to you, from my perspective is okay, what will you do differently? If you're unhappy with that routine, if you're unhappy with the outcome that way, what do you do different?
I have no idea. How do you change your basic routine and your basic functions?
Yeah, okay. So that's a great question. And part of that is understanding what causes you to fall into that rut, what causes you to fall into that routine. And so that's where you start getting into some of the understandings about where we build routines, where we build habits. Because if your habit is just, oh, I'm just going to keep on going through every single day, you need to find some way to insert a different trigger into that cycle or a different behavior into that cycle to get to a different outcome. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of like what Charles Duhigg talks about in his book about Power of Habit, and being able to take a look at, you okay there?
I just hit the microphone with my pen, and I'm trying to be very conscious about it, and fine. I hit it pretty hard. I'm trying to take feedback, constructive feedback, and grow and not do all these bad habits that annoy the crap out of you when you go to edit.
I don't mind. It's just the fact that people hear that on the other side. So, but in any case, I mean, I do mind a little bit because I would like nice clean audio for people, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway. Yeah. So if that's the thing, you have to figure out how to essentially insert a breakpoint into your habits and into your routines so that you get to a different outcome. And essentially what he talks about is that you've got to, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but you've got to trigger something that happens that causes then a behavior, causes you to do something. And then there's an outcome that goes along with that, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like we start recording down here, and then that creates the behavior of the cat wanting to come bother us, right, Kitty? And then the outcome is that I reference it in the podcast like this. You don't seem to be enjoying this conversation.
I'm trying to think and understand, but to me that just sounds like a routine.
I
do the same routine.
But you just said that your problem is that you're in the same routine.
Yeah, but my same routine isn't going to change. I'm still going to have to get up. I'm still going to have to go to work. I'm still going to have to come home. I don't know what it is or where it is that I need something that's going to add a little more oomph. Like it's the same thing. Like it's not like I and this is where I'm like, I'm not trying to build in any stretching habits. I'm not trying to build in any eating habits. I'm not trying to build any habits of that nature. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know.
Okay.
So, and that's where I'm not fully getting it. And that's why I'm trying. I'm not that I'm not looking, like, I'm just not, I'm trying to take it in and understand, but I'm just having trouble linking it to why it could help me become less meh.
So part of what you'll need to understand is you'll need to understand whatever it is that's causing you to be meh, and whatever it is that's going to solve that. So that I can't tell you. that like you have to figure out whatever's causing your menace, whatever's causing you to feel unfulfilled in some particular way.
I don't even know if it's unfulfilled. It's just it's the same old, same old. It's fine. I
So
have
what's
purpose
wrong
at
with
work.
it, though?
Well, and that's where you wonder. Like nothing stands out. Everything is fine. That's right with the mat and the rut. Like everything's fine. Like I go to work, I enjoy work. Work is fine. I come home and either I go outside or I do something and it's fine. Like everything is just fine.
Right. This is the thing that they talked about on the Hidden Brain episode that I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that people who essentially, for all intents and purposes, should feel great about their life. Everything's great, right? They don't. And usually there is some, they talked about it in the episode, there is some underlying thing that is unsatisfying for them in some particular way. It shouldn't be, but it is. By all standards and measures of success and what we talk about from, you know, in the social sphere and things like that, and in modern life, they should be happy, but they're not. They're just generally disgruntled for some reason.
Okay. Are you annoyed?
Well, I think there's a mismatch in terms of conversation. I was approaching it from more of a problem-solving perspective and things like that, and kind of talking through it. But I'm not. Actually, I take that back. I was more just exploring it. I'm not necessarily trying to problem solve. Like I can't tell you the answer. And like as I'm talking through this and just kind of exploring it, when you're talking back to me, it feels like you want me. Like you're saying, yeah, but that's not going to solve my problem.
No, I think we're not on the same page of what the mat is.
Okay. Then you need to tell me what the mat is, because I don't know what the mat is.
What do you do when everything's fine? And you feel like everything's fine. You're not disgruntled. You're not upset. You're not great. Like things aren't wonderful. Things aren't horrible. Like I'm not disgruntled. I'm fine. Everything's
okay.
Fine.
But you're clearly unhappy.
Where am I unhappy?
Okay, then I don't know. Then
it's
maybe
not that the unhappiness. It's just that I'm in mat. Everything's fine. Like, okay, fine. What filled my spirit? But I'm doing the same thing. And like, there's nothing that's standing out that's filling my spirit. If I want to go dig deep, I'll go find something. But like, there's nothing that's outstanding. Like, it's just nominal. Yeah. Everything is nominal, which is fine. Like, so what do you do when you're in that phase? I guess maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know.
No, you like this happens. I guess my question is what do you do when, like, I don't know, keep doing the same thing. Like if you're not actually unhappy about it.
So if you're trying to live a spirited life,
yeah.
What do you do when you're like, everything's fine?
Then you're disgruntled.
I'm not disgruntled. Oh. I'm not miserable. I'm not unhappy.
But you want to do something different, which means that you're at least disgruntled. You're unsettled.
Maybe unsettled because I'm not I'm not unhappy. It just was okay. Spirited life. What filled my spirit? I mean, if fine, I'll sit down and be like, okay, so I put some extra bugs or something in my garden.
Yeah, you were really happy about everything that was happening with your garden this week.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. How many times are we going to talk about my garden? Like everything, and that's what it is. It's like everything is kind of like the same thing. Everything is the same. Rinse, wash, and repeat. Like, not that I'm unhappy. I don't. Mm-hmm. I like my job. Everything's fine. Tweaks here and there. Yeah, sure. I mean, everybody wants tweaks here and there in life, but there's nothing that's. I can't sit here and be like, I'm going to go dump on you and complain about all these things that make me unhappy and miserable because I don't have them. But I'm also not like, wow, this is wonderful. This is great. This is where I'm at. It's like, things are cool. That's fine.
So what's your expectation?
Well, I looked at it from if I'm trying to live a spirited life, and spirited is like, woo, spirited. If I'm just living a basic life where everything's fine, how do I live a spirited life?
I personally think that living a spirited life sometime is actually just being able to be content with where things are at and enjoying sometimes it is just enjoying the small things. Sometimes it is just enjoying your routine. Sometimes it is just appreciating the fact that you're in a good spot and actually you can just maintain. And that's all right. Like that to me is just as much living a spirited life as it is if we were to go climb Mount Everest, which I don't want to do, but that to me is living just as much a spirited life, because it is about living life the way that you want to. And frankly, I know that happiness is fleeting, and there is a certain discontentment that people can have from time to time. So being able to find something where you're good with the routine and you can just be happy in the routine, and happy is not even the right word, it's more contented. That is living a spirited life too.
So I think I get stuck in the meh and thinking that the meh, in my definition, meh, but that's like the contented, everything's fine. Because I'm very much, I remember having a conversation with my brother once, and he goes, I'm struggling because I don't have to fight things so much. So we did a lot of things because we had to fight. We had to fight against, whatever challenges or whatever. We always had a chip on the shoulder. Yeah. So we got so far by being angry and fighting and doing all that stuff and trying to prove everyone wrong. And so what happens when you get to that phase when you don't have to do that? Like, okay, now I got to find my motivation, or like, where's that underlying drive when I don't have that challenge anymore? Like, I'm fine where I'm at. Yeah. So I don't have to. So it's a mixture. I think sometimes, and while you were talking, some of this came into my head. I think it's a mix of moving on from letting go of the chip on your shoulder and realizing you are happy, content where you are, and you don't have to keep like clawing or fighting. And then the other hand is where sometimes I get all like, woo, everything's wonderful, like the exciting part of life. And then balancing those two emotions and realizing that, I guess, that middle, which is a meh, which I'm calling a meh, because it's not like I'm angry, I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm not overly excited and everything is amazing. But I'm in that content phase. So I guess I'm wonderful. I think meh is more of the content phase.
Yeah. I'm gonna
blow my mind, or are you gonna?
No, I'm gonna share something about our work, and I tell people most days, like when we used to go through and we would be like, hey, how are you on a scale of 1 to 5? I'm a 3. Most days I'm a 3. And people would be like, oh, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing's wrong. Life is fine. It's good. Right? Like a 3 is good. Most days I'm going to expect that things are going to be all right. And I'm good with that when things are all right. And if I have a particularly good day, then I might be a 4. And
if I have a 5?
And if I have a great day, then I'm going to be a 5. Right? But I very much try to look at it on a relatively objective scale. 5 days are going to be days like, hey, we're traveling to Florida to go visit friends that we don't see. And this is like a once a year activity or once every quarter activity. That's going to make me a 5. I twisted my ankle and I have to go to the doctor because I've got I need to, like, I can't walk. Okay, good. I'm probably a 1 or a 2 at that point. Right. But most days I'm going to be a 3. Most days are going to be, I'm doing all right. And actually what I don't like is when I have the people who are like, I'm a 5 every day. I don't like that, because to me, that's actually toxic positivity. You're being so positive that you can't acknowledge the bad things in your life or that things could get better.
Or you set yourself up that everything needs to be a 5. So when you're in the doldrums of like, it's fine. Yeah. And then it's not a 5. You're like, something's wrong. It's not a 5. I feel fine. Why don't I feel amazing?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something that I don't want to do for myself is I don't want to set the expectation for myself that every day should be like waking up in a brand new world and everything is new and exciting. Nope. I actually don't want that. But I do want to try to make sure that we are enjoying our life along the way, while most of the days are probably what you're describing as meh. They're fine. They're fine days. I wake up like, is it going to be a fantastic, wonderful, mind-blowing day? No. But is it going to be a terrible, horrible, absolutely no good, bad day? No, it's not going to be either one of those. And frankly, as long as like many of my days are in that range of like, hey, everything's just kind of going along and everything's it's fine. I'm cool with that. It's that we make sure that we're still finding time occasionally to do those spirited life things and get out and enjoy things. But knowing that a good majority of our life actually is not going to be wildly radical things that we're going out and doing and things like that. I don't expect to go camping every weekend. I don't expect to go and do a whiskey event every weekend. I don't expect to go and go traveling to visit our friends in other states every weekend. We could do that, but that's actually not a part of my expectation. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to not do it at all. And what I want to do is make sure that we're making time for that, as we're also trying to set ourselves up for whatever that next endeavor is that happens as we start getting later in life and we start looking towards retirement and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we kind of talked through this because I don't, like, from my point of view, that is living a spirited life. Being able to have most of our days just be kind of okay days is actually a part of living a spirited life, because we're not constantly in a crap situation. We're not constantly dealing with shit.
Actually, yes, I am.
Well, you are, but that's different. Like,
I work with children.
You work with children, and well, let's be frank. It's just
multiple times a day.
Multiple times a day. So, absolutely.
I had to add that in there, and I just totally threw you off.
No, it's great. It's great. So, given all of that kind of like little thing that I all talked about, does that change your feelings? Does that change your opinion? How does that make you feel?
I think it does. I think talking it out, I think when we first started, I think we had a different understanding of meh.
I think you're right.
Because, and that's in talking out, like for me, meh is, it's fine. Like, it's meh. It's not like, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, to me, meh is actually closer to like, you're bordering in a 2.
Oh, no, for me, meh is 3. Like, it's the same old. And I think that's where, I don't know, it does, because things have been a little different this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been home more, doing more regular, like, routine type things at home.
Mm-hmm.
With, I mean, some travel in there, but not, I don't know. It's been a little different. But I think it really helped me see that my meh is just like an average 3. Like, I'm so used to looking at things that are either like, woo, super exciting, it's amazing, or things are like, oh my God, I swear I'm going to go insane. That the middle to me seems boring. And so that's like, I just think it's meh because it's boring. And I think in going back, I think it's a lot of having the chip on my shoulder, having to kind of have an attitude, fight more.
Mm-hmm.
My motivation was external forces and trying to prove things wrong or prove people wrong and things of that nature. So I always had that motivator, and then I'd have the most exciting things like, let's save up and we're going to go to Scotland, we're going to go to Ireland. Like, that's a great motivator. Now, like,
mm-hmm.
my motivation is just my basic routine, which is tricky for me because it's fine. Like, I don't have that extreme to get me up and going, but it's okay to be fine.
Yeah. And that is maybe a part of what you need right now, just because of your work situation with the amount of time off that you have, things like that, or being able to find maybe ways to do that, but in smaller ways and more local ways, those types of things. I do appreciate you talking about how in the seasons of your life, in a previous season, right, in a younger you was living in a different context and a different situation. And so that was one of those things that was motivating you to continue to have to work hard and fight for things and everything like that. But you're now like that recognition of, oh, I am in a different situation than that. And where I took a mindset around some of that to help motivate me or keep me moving forward, maybe that doesn't serve me as well anymore. Mm-hmm. And that is deeply introspective of you to recognize that and just even be able to say, hey, look, I may need to approach things differently now than I did when I was younger, and that thing that of who I was doesn't maybe necessarily serve me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And rethinking kind of how you approach your approach to life. The other thing I'll say real quick is that modern society has somewhat conditioned you to not be comfortable with things just being fine and that everything is going to be okay. You are heavily marketed to about you should be living this wonderful life and getting out there and doing all these things and traveling and taking vacations and buying these new things of stuff and everything like that. And a lot of that is because of our capitalistic society. And don't get me wrong, I like living in a capitalistic society and everything like that. But that does try to motivate you in a particular direction of you should be getting out and traveling and spending and doing all of this stuff. And then bring into that also social media, where everyone is showing you a very happy, curated life.
I was going to say the curated side of life.
Yes, they're showing you a curated life. They're showing you the good stuff in most cases. There are some out there that will post all sorts of stuff, right? And in some cases, they post a lot of stuff, which is cool. They do their thing. But in a lot of cases, people post pretty curated life. They're showing you all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're showing you all of the highlight reel. And so that, when you see that over and over again in your highlight feeds, on whatever your social media is, things like that, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, that ingrains itself. And you may be asking yourself, oh, like, people are out doing all this stuff. It can even create a subconscious effect in you of saying, like, man, I feel like I need to be doing something else. I feel like I need to be doing more. I feel like I need to be more because I see other folks doing all this stuff. And you're not seeing everything that happens in between. You're not seeing all the other things that are happening in their life, all of the doldrums that are happening for them. All right. One of the things that I use to remind myself about, anybody who does have that curated life or is fancy in a particular way or something like that, is the everybody shits rule. Everybody shits. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
still has to go to the bathroom. Nobody is immune from that, right? Everyone still has to do those mundane things like going to the bathroom or having a meal or going to bed or brushing their teeth or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They all have to do that. And so you may not always see that or anything like that. But guess what? Even Jeff Bezos does that. He may be riding around.
Someone does it for him.
I mean, he might. He's got enough money. Maybe he does have somebody who wipes his butt for him. I don't know.
Well, I think the thing too is like, and I think it's like I said, it's a mixture of younger previous season me. Like, I think even if things were really crappy and miserable and challenging, I think not that I would prefer it over the meh or the fines, but I think I would handle it better. Like, I don't think in my mind I'm looking for everything to be so amazing and so wonderful and so great. Like, I don't know if it's a challenge. I'm looking for some sort of challenge or some sort of something. Because as much as it would suck for things to be really crappy, I think, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been in situations like that. Like, it's almost like a comfort feel. It's like people who go for chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you have that and then you don't have chaos,
yeah,
you feel like you're missing something. Even though it's good that you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's a part of you that is no longer there, so you think you're missing something.
Well, and that is a part of what happens when people get unsettled in midlife crisis. They go out and they buy the car because they feel like they're supposed to be something else. They feel like that they're supposed to be some other thing. They go out and they buy the car. They have an affair, or they whatever it is that they do. I
have no energy for an affair.
Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, it's that unsettling. It's the fact that they feel like maybe they're supposed to be something else, or there's something supposed to be more. That sometimes motivates people to do those other things.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of being in the doldrums that makes them unsettled, to your point. All right, so what do we learn today?
I apparently am missing my chaotic lifestyle. I think that number 3 is where is typically fine. Apparently to me it's meh. People sometimes think of meh as there's a problem and it's not good. I learned that apparently things aren't that bad and I should just enjoy the peace and calm in my life.
I would say off of your second point, language is hard. Language is hard because we all interpret words a little bit differently, and we got to talk some of this stuff out sometimes. On your third point, I would say yes. Like, I would maybe encourage you. I don't want to tell you how to live your life. I would maybe encourage you to think about living a spirited life is sometimes being able to have just that contentment. It's being able to take a day and just sit in your pool and have some drinks.
And not end up beating myself up over it later because I wasted a whole day and I should have done something else.
Sometimes that's just living your spirited life. By the way, guess what Christine did today?
I had a blow-up pool and I sat in it and I had some drinks because it's been ridiculously hot and humid.
Yeah.
And I got some new plants for my garden and I got some new solar lights with little bugs where their butts glow.
And here's the thing. You told me, you're like, I'm doing a vacation day. And I was like, hell yeah. And you're like, I'm gonna go fill up the pool and everything like that. And I was like, have at. What do you need me to do for you? You're like, nothing. All right, I'm good. That was awesome. And to me, that's a great example of living a spirited life, because you're like, hey, I'm going to take a vacation day and it's going to be in my backyard. And that's what I want to do today. And I'm going to find that fulfilling. And I went out and I bought some plants and I got some nice little cute little decorations for my backyard. And I'm making it my oasis and everything like that. And then I'm going to sit in the pool and have some drinks. And I'm going to tell my friends about it because they're the ones that gave us the pool. Right. And that was great. And so, like, I just want to acknowledge, like...
I should think about that, too. Like, I literally, in sitting in the pool, I had a conversation with, like, 1, 2, 3, like, 6 different friends while I was hanging out in the pool.
Yeah. And sometimes just doing that is living a spirited life. And that's okay.
Getting some sunburn.
Yeah.
Whew.
But, yeah. It doesn't always have to be wild and crazy things. Sometimes it can just be something that just gives you some contentment and is allowing you to enjoy and appreciate everything that you have on those contented days. So I would encourage you to think about it that way, because I think just like if there is something that I would say, like you were saying earlier, I'm having trouble thinking about what filled my spirit this week. Did you have a great day today?
I did, until I had an anxiety attack.
Yeah. Until you started overthinking it.
Yeah.
Right? Until you started.
Yeah.
But to me, like that is living a spirited life. So I think that, like, if I could make a suggestion, maybe that's the thing. Are you going to
mansplain what's filled my spirit?
I am not telling you.
I'm just kidding.
But I will gently make the suggestion. I will try to point that out gently.
Yeah, because I can't think of much else that filled my spirit. So,
and that's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah. Me, since we're going right into it, I'll talk about what filled my spirit this week. I ended up taking Friday off, and like they did a special release here in the state of Ohio. And karma and like everything like that was on my side. I went over, I had the opportunity to buy some limited whiskey that we don't normally see, that's normally in a lottery, and comes out like once a year. And I was able to get some really lovely whiskey. I was able to get a Blanton straight from the barrel. And it was kind of a serendipitous thing in that originally I didn't even know if I was going to go over and do it. And I was like, you know what? I was thinking about taking today off anyway. I'm just going to go give this a try. And so I went over at like 20 minutes before they opened and got in line and everything like that. And sure enough, I was able to get that. So that was really great. And then just enjoyed the rest of the day. So that is what filled my spirit this week, because sometimes it's just like little simple things like that, like being able to take a day and sit in the pool, or take advantage of a shock drop raffle that the state decided to do. Right? Sometimes it's little stuff like that can fill our spirit this week.
True.
So, yeah. So how you feeling?
Better.
Okay.
I think in understanding too that I guess chaos is still part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's not a part of me, I'm just like, why isn't things crazy?
Well, and life is gonna
life.
Yeah, life is gonna life. And we try to make that, spirited from time to time. Live a spirited life. Enjoy the journey as much as we can, whether it's going out and traveling to across the country or across the ocean.
Or sitting in a little blow-up pool in your backyard.
And both of those are great examples of living a spirited life. Right?
Yep.
Awesome.
That works. Yay. Therapy session over.
Alrighty. And so on that note, I think we'll continue to just try to appreciate those little moments that we have sometimes, and the big moments when we get to have them as well. And between now and the next time that we see you, we hope you live a spirited life. The topics and information on a spirited life should not be taken as financial advice and should be considered for entertainment purposes only.